Welcome back to the shop, everybody. Well, today I'm going to be making this beautiful Christmas tree. It's really clever, it's simple to do, and I'll show you every single step that I take. So let's get to it. So I sell these Christmas trees in my Etsy store. I have a walnut version and I have a cherry version. Now, here's what's amazing. In a month's time that I've listed that product, I've had 54,000 views. That's a staggering number. So here's something fun about this design. It's a two-piece system, lays flat, so storage is an easy thing to do. I made these out of two pieces of wood. There's a seam right down the center, and that's typical for both pieces. We're going to go ahead and select some wood, get it cut, get it glued, and then tomorrow, after the glue is fully dried, I'm going to go ahead and use a template. I'll attach that with double-sided tape, and I'll get a flush trim bit out on the router table and cut this to size. If you don't have a router table, don't worry about it. You can get this job done. You don't even need the template. You can just simply lay out a design and freehand with your jigsaw. So don't get tripped up on not having every single tool. If you're creating this for your friends and family, loved ones, gosh, they're going to love it. So anyway, right now I'm going to go ahead and select some wood. We'll get the glue up going on and I'll show you that process. And then tomorrow we'll dig right back into this project. I dug through my wood pile and I was looking for wood that had similar color tones. These two are pretty good, a decent match. They've got some nice figure to it. As you can see, I've got some weird knots going on here, but that's not going to affect the end of the project, the outcome of the project, because by the time I do my glue up, I'm going to be missing this mess. So this is a good way to use some wood that I wouldn't be able to use in cutting boards, for instance. So I've got these already marked out for my lengths, and I'm going to take them over to the saw right now. While I was getting set up to cut, I thought, some of you don't have this kind of a saw. That's not a problem. You can use a circular saw. You can use a jigsaw. So again, don't sweat it if you don't have every single tool. Just get out there and start doing it. So I've laid out my wood so that the grain patterns match, reasonably well. And I'm simply going to scribe a line so I can keep a reference of that. And as you can see, I've got a nice little gap down here. I'm actually going to go ahead and run this on my joiner to clean up the edge. That'll be my glue edge. So again, I'm going to scribe the line. And let's go to the joiner next. If you don't have a joiner, what you can do is get a clean edge by using your circular saw, clamping this down at the appropriate distance, and then run your circular saw right along the edge here to clean it all up. All right, well, the joiner was very handy to use. My glue joint is absolutely perfect, and we're ready to move forward to the glue up station. We'll do that next, and I'll show you what I do. Well, these boards are a breeze to glue up. I've got them in bar clamps right now, and I'm simply going to apply glue to one side. And I'm using Titebond 3, as I mentioned earlier. Looks like that. And I've got a little applicator brush. I'm just going to wipe this so I'm covering the surface of the wood. And again, this isn't like a cutting board where it has to be some sort of a critical fit and perfection. But still, we can spend the time to make it right. And I'm going to use that registration mark again. Give that wood a little squeeze. We're good to go. Tighten the clamps just a bit. And then what I'm going to do is wipe off this glue on both sides. And in about an hour, I'm going to pop this out of the clamps and just let it sit overnight so it'll dry. I'll do the next one off camera, but we're looking good. All right, this is getting exciting. The glue up turned out great. I'm going to lay out my templates now. And I'm just going to line them up. I'm going to get my glue edge into the center of the Christmas tree. Off camera, I'm going to go ahead and scribe this with a pencil, and then we'll head over to the bandsaw and cut this out. And again, if you don't have a bandsaw, use your jigsaw, and you can make this happen. This project's going to go real fast now that we're all glued up. Well, if you like the content, do me a big favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get all my notifications because there's a lot more coming up. Okay, these are nice and flat and ready to go. I wiped it down. We're going to put on the template, but I wanted to show you this flush trim bit. It's got a little bearing right up on top, and that bearing rides right along the edge of the template. You don't want it up because then you're cutting the template. You just want to run right along that with the bearing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put some double-sided tape. I'll do that in time lapse, not to bore you, and we'll get to the router table next. Well, I had a technology fail. I was filming in time lapse and it didn't record for some reason. But simply put, I ran all along the template. And as you can see, it cut quite a bit of material. Look how beautiful that is. Isn't that nice? I mean, it's a flawless cut. Just gorgeous. So let's get back to the table. We're going to pop these templates off and we'll talk about our next step. The templates are easy to get off. I've got a little putty knife and I'm going to get up underneath an edge and just kind of start prying, work my way around. I don't want to damage the template, of course. They are pretty durable. This is made out of acrylic. There we go. And I always take the tape off as soon as I can because it will tend to stick. Otherwise, I'll do that in just a second. Let's get this one off. There we go. Okay, so I have a choice. I can leave this edge as is and just sand it, but I really like a slight rounded edge to it. So I'm going to use this bit here. You can see it's very small. And we'll be back to the router table. I'll just run an edge all the way around, and then it'll be ready for sanding and finishing. We're just about done. Well, I think that round over bit just did a nice job for me. I like that. I'm going to be sanding next. I'll do that off camera. You don't need to watch me sand, but I'll start with 120 grit and I'll go to 180 and I'll be done. At that point, I'll bring you back. We'll apply the finish and talk about the project and wrap it up. Well, I'm all sanded and I'm ready for finish. Yeah, there's a variety of ways I can finish this. If I had more time, I'd probably go with tung oil, but I have to get this shipped out in a specific amount of time. So I'm going to go ahead and use my board butter, which is a combination of Carnauba, beeswax, and mineral oil. And you'll see it really makes the wood pop. Isn't that nice? So I'm going to go ahead and lather this up. I'll apply a couple of coats of this. And then, after an hour or two, I'll go ahead and wipe off any excess. Isn't that nice? Just beautiful. And then I'll bring you back in just a moment. We're going to assemble this and see what it looks like. Well, doesn't that look great? I wiped off the excess. You know, this is the board butter that I use. I sell it in my Etsy store. It was designed by my wife, who is an oils expert. And that's secret weapon number 1. But I'm going to show you secret weapon number 2. Sawdust and splinters, Carnauba wood, finish and polish. Check this stuff out. I have one that's open. Beautiful color. And what I do is I simply apply it to the wood, and then I use my buffer. And it's amazing what a beautiful finish I get. Now with the buffer, whoops, with the buffer, I'm getting friction, and friction creates heat. So check it out. So what I'm going to do is go over the entire board. I'll flip it, do the same thing, and then I'll just let it sit for about 20 minutes and wipe it off with a clean, dry rag, and we'll be 100% done. I'll finish this up off camera and we'll be right back. I've wiped off all the excess Carnauba, and it's time for the unveiling. Isn't that cool? What a fun, simple project. It'll be a keepsake. It'll last a lifetime, obviously. Easy to maintain. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this. Well, thank you for following along, everybody. I really appreciate it. In the show notes, I have a number of affiliate links. It helps me out a little bit. And those links are to products that I use. I would never recommend something that I didn't like. So there's also a coupon code for my secret weapon #2. The board butter is in there as well. So check all of that out. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell if you would. It really means a lot to me. And we're going to see you next time. Thanks so much.